Hey, it's been a while. I have been off social media for a bit because what happened was I almost died when I was traveling in Europe. And so I thought I would explain a little bit about what happened and also what saved my life. I have a lot of family that's in Italy, both my sisters and like 23 family members in northern Italy, and I wanted to go surprise them. On the way there, we stopped for a day in London, and that evening we went to a theater, and I believe that that's where I was exposed to a very nasty bug. The next day we took off for Italy, and within 48 hours I started feeling really badly, and within 12 hours of that, or 24 hours of that, I'm losing track now, I actually could not breathe. It was an emergency situation. We were in southern Italy, we were in Sorrento. It's the evening, of course, and we're calling Italy's, or that area's version of 911. Couldn't get anyone to answer. My husband's thinking he's gonna have to literally leave the Airbnb and walk to the ER. Eventually they answered, and thank goodness I speak Italian. He ends up hanging up, called a different number. They're like, is this Mary? They end up getting an ambulance there down the street, but at least it was there. I'm at the ER and they never listened to my lungs. And I start asking, hey, can I get a nebulizer treatment? They were acting like they didn't understand me. I'm thinking there's only so many different ways to ask for a neb treatment. The doctor and her nurse finally admitted that they didn't have a nebulizer in the entire hospital. People were very nice. It's just a different environment. There's a door just literally right there that's, people are outside smoking cigarettes that are like blowing right in. So we end up communicating with my niece, one of my nieces, in northern Italy where my family is, in Verona. She gets on the phone with them. It turns out that what they didn't tell me was that they were planning on keeping me and running cardiac tests. I had no cardiac symptoms, but I did have pulmonary symptoms that weren't addressed. So my niece is having a fit. She says, nope, you're discharging her from the hospital. I end up getting back to the Airbnb. Looking back, now what we know what happened is that I then began having sepsis, or bacteria infection in my blood. My husband is thinking, if she's gonna die, I'm at least gonna get her by her family in Verona. I couldn't move, couldn't function, couldn't talk. So he hired this driver to get us from Sorrento to Naples. I'm not wanting to infect anybody during this whole process as well, right? So, I mean, we're all masking up and we're in this little area of the train where you can close the door. And so we take this 4-hour ride up to Bologna. Francesca drives from Verona to Bologna, picks us up there and drives us back. And that's how I got up to Verona. But it happened thanks to my beautiful husband. Within 24 hours of being in Verona, I was in the ER again. They said, okay, you have flu type A H1N1, but you don't have COVID, so you're gonna be okay. And I'm like, well, I'm immunosuppressed, so I'm in a situation here. And they said, no, it's fine. Still never listened to my lungs. They did prescribe me an aerosol for the nebulizer. They prescribed an antibiotic. They said, well, you can try Tamiflu, but it's been so many days now, it probably won't be effective. And they said, that's even if you can find it in Italy, because we have a shortage in Italy. I go back to Verona. I'm getting sicker and sicker. You know, the time comes to fly back. When I got to the US, they had me start going to the infusion center where I was getting antibiotics and big doses of steroids every day. I wasn't getting better. I was getting worse and worse and worse. And finally they did a CT of my lungs and it showed that I had pneumonia. I was hospitalized. The physicians there felt that what happened was that I got what was called a super infection. And they said that I had the flu and I had pneumonia from the flu and then I had another pneumonia on top of it. And I still was not responding. I thank God eventually with time and lots of steroids, I have been doing better. So now I wanted to talk a little bit about what it is that I feel like helped me survive. I know that I'm immunosuppressed, so whenever I travel anywhere, I do my best to bring what I call emergency meds with me. I had a handheld nebulizer with me with some medication for that. I had some steroids with me, I had some antibiotics with me. But in whoever's case, doesn't matter if you're immunosuppressed or not, I would suggest talking with your physician before you go on a trip, so that way you can bring medication with you that she or he feels like might be helpful in the case of an emergency. The important takeaway there is that even though I wasn't getting aggressive treatment in Italy, I was able to provide some treatment for myself. The other thing is that I had the name of a fantastic physician that I know that I was able to text, message, WhatsApp while I was in Italy to help give me directives as far as what do I do now. So I would say, if possible, before you travel, have the name of a physician contact that you know who will communicate with you in the case of an emergency. I also was lucky enough that I wasn't traveling by myself. My husband, my family pushed really hard to try to get me to where I needed to be, take care of me while I was there and couldn't function. Travel with good folks and good people that you know have your back. The other thing is that even though I speak Italian, it was not easy navigating the hospital. And it was very, very beneficial to have a native speaker who the Italian medical professionals would really listen to available to me. You have to realize that, you know, the hospitals are not like a tourist destination. It would just be random if you happen to find somebody who speaks English there. It really helps if you can communicate in some way, shape, or form, or have someone available to you. What I would do differently if I were to do it again. I don't have any strong desire to go traveling anytime soon, but I do have a big old passel of family that I'm very close to and love so much in Italy, so I'm probably gonna end up going back. Okay, 1, medical evacuation. In hindsight, the second that I was so bad that I couldn't breathe, I should have gotten a medical evacuation back to the US. And there are companies that you can buy insurance from that do just this. Also, never assume that where you're going has accessible healthcare. Even though you may read on the internet that it's got great healthcare, I have found that there's a big difference region to region, and know that not all ERs are equal, even in developed countries. I love London, I love Italy, and I'm not here to scare anybody away, but I am here to just say be prepared when you go travel and let y'all know where I've been. It's been several months now, been a long road back, but I'm making it. And remember, it's all good. If it's not, we're gonna make it that way. Hang in there.